TPMNation.com.
Well, it's a Thursday night and Matt Connerton Unleashed is doing a live edition, so that can only mean one thing. Kendra must be back. Yes, once again, Kendra L. Saunders returns to guest host the show, and tonight she's going to be chatting with Dmitry Sholokhov. Hopefully I said his name correctly. He's the winner of Season 10 Project Runway. So Kendra's going to chat with him. It is April 18th, 2013, 10 p.m. in the Eastern Time Zone, and Matt Connerton Unleashed special Thursday night edition with Kendra L. Saunders starts right now.
Auto sequence starts. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Matt Connerton Unleashed.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another hijacked episode of Matt Connerton Unleashed. My name is Kendra L. Saunders. I'm the author of Inanimate Objects and the upcoming dark comedy Death of Mr. Right. Today I have a very, very special guest for you, Dmitry Sholokhov, winner of Season 10 of Project Runway. Dmitry wowed viewers the world over with his clean, polished designs and impeccable sewing, as well as his sense of humor. Dmitry recently showed a collection at the Mercedes-Benz Moscow Week, and much closer to home for all of us here, he just introduced a capsule collection of 8 beautiful dresses for Lord & Taylor. The dresses are for sale right now online and at Lord & Taylor's website, as well as their flagship store in Manhattan. So thank you so much for joining us, Dmitry.
Oh, thank you very much for having me. Hello, everyone, and I can't believe it's all me, you know?
I can only imagine.
Very, very excited.
Yeah, I can only imagine your excitement now. I mean, finally seeing your dresses journey out into the world through this Lord & Taylor collection. For writers, it's kind of like seeing your book on the shelf, but it's when you finally see someone reading it on a subway or, in a waiting room or something that it really hits you. So have you gotten to see anyone wearing your dresses out in public yet?
Well, I came to the show already professional designer, and I've done a lot before the show, and I've seen my dresses, but with somebody else's labels on it.
Yeah.
On people before the show. But here I am today, and I'm working under my own name, I saw actually a couple of dresses already from Lord & Taylor on people, just on fans. They would send me the pictures. And then recently Heidi Klum wore one of my dresses to Michael and Kelly show.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, so it was as public as it gets. So
that had to feel amazing.
It's such an amazing feeling when you see your creation on somebody else, because it's very important for me that, whatever I create, that it has life after the runway. So that's when it gets real.
Yeah, and I feel like, especially with the examples you gave of, Heidi Klum, who is a supermodel, and then you have, people walking the streets in a regular city, maybe going to work or whatever. That's very cool. That shows how much versatility your clothes have.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's just the beginning. I cannot imagine what's going to be next,
I definitely agree about that. Your clothes appeal to women with a wide variety of tastes because the designs are so clean, but they still incorporate some sparkle and some sass. And that certainly inspires a lot of devotion among your fans. In this day and age of social media and reality TV, there's this real feeling of community that we can band together and, help our favorite artists out or spread the word or be encouraging. Is there something that your fans could do at this point to help you?
Well, I think at this point I'm so grateful to have fans, and, getting all this fan mail from all over the world, because it became so internationally all of a sudden. And I think it's already a huge help, and, it just gives me strength and inspires me. And I think it's pretty enough. But if you want to be a really good fan, you go and buy my dress.
Yes. And I actually did have the honor of buying one of your dresses while you were at Lord & Taylor at the event recently. And I have to say, putting that dress on, I haven't worn it out yet. I'm saving it for a big event. But putting it on, it makes you feel like a princess or something. It's beautifully made.
Thank you, Kendra. Thank you. And this the style that you have, it's so much you, and I think it can be so much versatile, and you can dress it up and dress it down, and you can get away with this dress in so many situations. So,
and
I'm
yeah,
happy you have it.
That reminds me of another thing. I absolutely loved your styling at Moscow Fashion Week. You had the smoky eye. Is that what you would suggest to people as the designer that, might be buying your dress and they're going to wear it out? What would you suggest to them for the styling, for instance?
I think it's extremely important to stay true to yourself. And, like as you mentioned, my styling in Moscow, I think if you feel comfortable with this kind of vampy look and smoky eye, so you should totally do it because it always works. Smoky eyes always work. You don't need anything else, just eyes, and you can go out,
Mm-hmm.
But if it's not you, if you don't feel comfortable in this, you shouldn't do it. And you should always find your niche where you're most comfortable. I think that's important.
Yeah, that is very good advice, and I think actually in a lot of ways that's better advice than you hear from designers that don't have a background in. Well, for instance, you've gained experience in many areas of the arts, including ballroom dancing and modeling. And I know a lot of people sort of connect your dancing background with the glamour in your clothes, but I can't help thinking that the modeling would have just as much of an impact. So, did you pick up some tips from your modeling days that have paid off now with putting together your fashion shows?
Well, let's talk about dancing for a moment, because especially a lot of press says that ballroom dancer turned to be a designer, and it's wrong because I used to be a professional ballroom dancer in my teen years, but I quit ballroom dancing almost, 15, 16 years ago.
Oh, wow.
So, and then all this time I was going to school and working as a professional designer, so it didn't happen for me overnight that I was a ballroom dancer, and then I decided, okay, I'm going to be a fashion designer.
Right.
So, just to put it there, because it just bothered me, that the way it was written everywhere, that ballroom dancer turns to be a designer. So it's kind of weird. But anyway, so modeling, it was my first year in New York when I moved, and it was an interesting experience, and I think that any experience and every experience that we have in life, it makes us who we are today, and it was part of my life, and I can't tell you if it helps me or not, but it definitely made me who I am today, because I think whatever happens in your life happens for the reason, and by modeling I've met great people, and then I've done some movies as an extra. I've done Sex and the City, a couple of episodes, and it was a lot of fun.
Oh, that's awesome.
So, and it's an experience. It's definitely an experience.
Yeah, and I feel like when you do have, you do experience different things in the arts, you're able to come at it with a more well-rounded point of view. And I love that about your work, that you put together beautiful clothes, but you have good styling. I think that's definitely, it's paid off for you with that. Now.
Thank you. And speaking of styling, by the way, the show in Moscow, because it happened that I didn't have a stylist in Moscow, and I styled everything myself. And styling, it's like a different world. You always need a stylist, because for designers, a good stylist is crucial, because you design a collection and you're so into it, and then stylist comes in and he reorganized or she reorganized everything, and it becomes something else and something you never expect. So, and I think it's so important to have a good stylist, but if you don't, then you have to be the one.
Yeah, you need to be knowledgeable of what looks good and what will look good with your clothes.
Absolutely.
Now, you've spoken about being sort of on your own at this point in the fashion business and looking for investors. Can you tell us a little more about that?
Well, I think I want to start with that fashion is serious business, you know, and I'm in a stage of my life where I'm building it, you know, and I have all these amazing opportunities, but this opportunities has to be taken to the next level. And at this point, I'm looking for the right partnership, you know, that would let me be myself and at the same time create a strong base for successful business. It's very important because, I mean, as much as I am an artist, I have to be a good businessman because otherwise I would never survive.
Right.
You know, to put a great show and just to make something beautiful and make people happy, it's the one thing, but then it has to be taken to the next level. You know, and that's what I'm working at this point. And I need, of course, in order to take everything to the next level, I need investment. It's, you know, it's a lot of money. Whenever you go, you need crazy amount of money.
Right.
So, and that's what my focus is right now, because I really want to show a collection. Not even like I really want to show a collection. I feel like I have to. Mm-hmm. During Mercedes-Benz Fashion Week here in New York in September. Mm-hmm. So I showed in Moscow, I did collection for Lauren Taylor, and now it's time to show in New York. So, and hopefully I have enough time to find an investor, because I'm talking to a few people, but it's very important to find a right partnership that, you know, you don't get in trouble with it.
Right, right. And I think that, you know, people listening that do love your work, and probably spreading the word and, you know, reposting things, talking about how much they like your work, buying your dresses, all of that stuff can help you, you know, to show people that your work is sellable, it is good, you have a fan base. So I would encourage, you know, people that are listening, if you do, you know, love Dmitry's work, it's really important to be able to keep doing what you're doing and, you know, talking about it, sharing it online. It is a huge thing these days.
Absolutely. Thank you, Kendra, for promoting me, so to speak. Thank you. Thank you very much. Of course, I mean, no matter what happens, as long as I'm alive, I'll be creating and I'll be doing what I'm doing. And eventually I'll get, you know, there.
Right.
I'll get where I want to get. But it just at this point, I think it's a great timing with just the international exposure, right? It's just a memento that I just did the show, the Project Runway, then I just did a collection for Lauren Taylor in Moscow, and just a lot of things going on, and I think it's the right time to take it to the next level. And that's my kind of rush right now. Mm-hmm. But eventually I know that I'll get there.
Yeah, you've come a long way in a short period of time, but I know that there was a long road before it. A lot of people don't realize that if they're not in the arts. There is no such thing as an overnight success. You've worked very hard for many years to get to where you are now, and I think that's the thing, you know, more than anything to really hold on to right now is you've come a long way. You've worked very hard for this. It's not like you're going to be impatient now.
No, absolutely. It took me 10 years, you know, and you cannot, no matter what you do, you cannot become an overnight sensation. I mean, even sometimes they say he is or she is overnight sensation, but before you get to that point, you have to work really, really hard, and you have to develop as an individual, as an artist. So, and yeah, so nothing happens overnight.
Switching gears a little, if you could live in a different time period than now, style-wise, what period would you choose? Not just for clothes that you'd make for others, but clothes that you could make for yourself.
That's a good question. I think, romantically speaking, and just when I fantasize about periods and just about clothes, I love period movies. Mm-hmm. I feel like they're so romantic, right? Just the way people were dressing, like 18th and 17th century, especially Europe.
I completely agree.
I love those periods. It's just so grand and so fairy tale-like. But when you think about the reality of that period and the modern times, I think I live in the right time for myself because it's the time where you can truly be yourself, and you can express yourself. And I think it's very much about comfort, fashion about comfort, just a lifestyle. It's all about comfort. And I think that suits me very well. So when it gets to reality, I love the more modern times, but romantically, I think it's 18th century France, probably.
Oh, yes. And I mean, it is good for a lot of us women that we don't have to wear corsets anymore.
Yeah, so I cannot, whenever I go to museums and I see the original clothing from 17th, 18th century, and I cannot imagine how people were actually functioning in it.
Me neither. It was beautiful. Like you said, it was such a romantic period, and people they sort of dressed for every occasion, but at the same time, like you said, there was no comfort at all.
Yeah, it's like, what if you have to run?
No running allowed. And speaking of making clothes, I spoke to Fabio a couple of weeks ago, and he said that he had sort of reached a point in his life when he was younger where he couldn't find the clothes that he wanted to wear, so he started like making them from bed sheets and stuff, or whatever was on hand. Of course, we don't expect to see you like waltzing around in one of your dresses, but do you make clothes for yourself as well?
Well, I do, but I would never make clothes out of bed sheets, that's for sure, but... Sorry, Fabio. But, of course I do. Whenever I've done collections before Project Runway when I was working for different brands, and I've done some clothing for myself as well. And, if whatever I'm wearing, if it's not mine, it's always altered for me, always. Because I'm a perfectionist, and it's rarely when I buy something that just fits so well that I don't have to do anything with it. So in 90% of the times, I always alter it or make it my own. So, and my goal is after, the women's collections are kind of on a roll and going, so I'm planning to start men's collection as well. And for me, it's always so hard to find things for myself, even for the fit issues. And plus, I have a lot of fans, male fans, who are just, asking me all the time, when are you going to start men's line? And for me, it's very exciting opportunity as well, and I cannot wait.
Yeah, I had noticed a lot of them asking that, so that's very exciting to hear for those guys, because I see that all over. I see people being like, "Oh, when are you going to do a men's line? When are you going to do a men's line?" I also see a lot of people asking if it's true that you, in your visit, I don't know, it was a Project Runway thing. You said something about wearing your sparkly sequin gown around the house, and a lot of people wanted me to ask you if that was really true.
It was a joke. But the funny thing, because, when the Project Runway came to my house, and they were learning about my personal style, and what I was wearing, right?
Right.
And this sequin gown, I made it for Project Runway because we had to bring it to the show.
Oh, okay.
Right, and I just put it in my wardrobe. and as a joke, I was like, pulling out my coats, my jackets, and then I pulled out the sequin gown. I thought it was hilarious.
A lot of other people did too. There were so many questions about that. Everybody will be happy to finally have that answered.
Yeah.
Let's see. I actually have a question from one of your fans on Tumblr. Her URL is, but I do believe in fairies. She asked, is there someone you'd love to create a dress for?
Oh, I have this question quite often, but I don't really have a particular person I would want to create a dress for. It's so many beautiful women around, and actresses and singers, just creative people, or just women. So it's like people always ask me, "What's your favorite movie? What's your favorite city? Who's your favorite actress?"
That always changes for me.
Anything favorite, and anything in particular. So, and I would love to dress as many people as I can, and that's my goal.
That's a good answer, and I know what you mean. I have a hard time when people ask me that too, because it changes. You could ask me one week and I'll say, well, I just read The Night Circus, it was the best book I've ever read, and you could ask me 3 weeks later and it could be different.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like, what's your favorite color? It's blue. What's your favorite food? It's strawberry. I don't know.
It was whatever I ate last night.
In the world, so how can it be favorite?
And one last question before we get to our wacky questions. You've spoken many times about how much your father and grandfather have inspired and encouraged you. Is there a piece of advice that they've given you that you would most like to pass on to your own children someday?
Will you repeat the question? I'm sorry, it was just breaking up a little bit.
Oh, no, that's okay. You've spoken many times about how your father and your grandfather have inspired and encouraged you as an artist. Is there any piece of advice that they've given you that you would most like to pass on to your own children someday?
Oh, of course. I mean, I've said it so many times before, but my dad and my grandfather, they would always tell me that don't be afraid to be yourself and don't try to be like someone else, because a lot of people, I feel like, they're not comfortable of being who they are, and they're always trying to mimic others in what they do. Mm-hmm. So, and I think you have to look in your heart, and you have to always stay true to yourself and be true with yourself. It's very important. And I think this is the biggest advice to everyone.
Yes. I think that's very inspiring advice. And I've seen stories of people on, Tumblr and Facebook. So many people have told you that, your story was really inspiring to them. Your story was very inspiring to me. I have talked to many people. I've told them, this was just so exciting to see somebody who really deserved to get somewhere, somebody who's a genuinely nice person and who's very talented, not somebody that's going around and beating his way to the top. So I think that's great advice, and it's nice to see that. Now I have a couple of our signature wacky questions for you. If you had to babysit someone's pet koala or someone's pet dragon, which would you choose?
Dragon. That's an interesting choice.
Good choice. And would you rather
probably koala?
Koala.
It sounds softer, and I'm kind of more on the softer side.
Would you rather tag along on an adventure with Indiana Jones or James Bond?
Oh, that's a good one. I would probably want to do both because, I'm so into nature and animals and just adventures. It's Indiana Jones. It sounds amazing, but then when you take James Bond, it's all about glamour and shooting and killing. So probably Indiana Jones.
Good choice. So for everybody listening, if you'd like to learn more about Dmitry's work, you can visit his website or you can follow him on Twitter. And you can watch season 10 of Project Runway for free on Hulu.com for those who haven't seen it and would like to check out his work. You can also view pictures from his recent fashion show in Moscow on his Facebook page. He will be in Belarus for the Belarus Fashion Week coming up very soon, so I definitely suggest you keep an eye out for that. And, of course, you can, right now, buy one of his beautiful pieces while they last on Lord & Taylor's website or in selected Lord & Taylor stores. If you don't know if your local store will have them, you can check that out on the website. Before we go, Dmitry, is there anything you want to say to your fans?
Well, I just want to say thank you, everyone, for supporting me and, being so just nice to me in general. So, for any artist, it's a big deal when you have support. And I think I had so much of it. So, and I'm just so grateful. Thank you, everyone.
Well, as Tim Gunn always says, I know we'll be hearing lots from you very soon, Dmitry. Best of luck.
Absolutely.
Best of luck with everything for you. Thank you so much for calling in. And we all can't wait to see you at many New York Fashion Weeks in the future.
Oh, thank you, Kendra. Thank you very much. And thank you again for your beautiful bracelet that you gave me during the presentation of Lord & Taylor. I love it.
I have a feeling it's going to bring you lots of good luck this year.
Oh, I need it. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye, guys.
Bye. Thank you for listening in tonight, guys. If you have any questions for me, you can feel free to tweet me at Kendrybird. That's KENDRYBIRD. And if you have any questions for Dmitry, please feel free to tweet him. His Twitter handle is his name, DmitrySholokhov. He loves to hear from his fans. I will be putting up links for all of this later for you. And I've also recently added a good deal of content to my website featuring some helpful writing articles, information about marketing and social media. You can check all that out and share it with anyone who might find it helpful. My website is www.KendraLSaunders.com. All right, well, good night, everyone.
Matt Connerton Unleashed.
IPMNation.com.